Okay, we had a case of a Mishnah where a woman went overseas. And they came and told the man that your wife died, and he married the wife's sister. And afterwards, his wife showed up. So therefore, he's mutter to take her back. The Gemara had said even a scenario where his brother-in-law and his wife went overseas. They came back and they said that Mesa Ishtoi and your brother-in-law. So he married his brother-in-law's wife. In other words, he married his wife's sister. All of a sudden, they show up. The halacha was that to the brother-in-law, it would be asur. To the brother-in-law, it would be asur because she was Ishtoi Shezinsa. His wife had relations with another man. But he would be permitted to go back and take his wife. He'd be able to take his wife back. After all, she did nothing. The Gemara wants to know, why don't we say the fact that a person was mizana with his wife's sister, why doesn't that asur? Why doesn't that asur? That's where we're picking it up. So we're picking it up on Tzadik Dalid Amid Beis, and we're about 2 lines from the bottom, or 3 lines from the bottom. Why is Ruvain not asur to his wife Leah the fact that he had bia with his wife's sister Rachel? In other words, if your wife went overseas, right? An issue goes overseas, and you go ahead and you marry, and it turns out that it was false information. It was just shogeg. You could take your wife back. So too over here, you should be able to go ahead and take your wife back. You should be asur. Just like over there, it's asur. An isha that goes overseas. In other words, the husband goes overseas. The wife then goes ahead and marries somebody else. Right? The wife goes ahead and marries somebody else. Where am I? Okay, I'm back. Sorry. The wife goes ahead and marries somebody else. We said she's asur. She thought it was asur. So who then over here? The fact that he lived with his wife's sister, that should asur him on his own wife. That's the tushtel of the Gemara. Just like if a man goes overseas and his wife remarries, she's asur to him. So too over here, in the same way, you were shogeg and you married your wife's sister, your wife should be asur to you. That's the Gemara's kasha. And the Gemara says, "Leidami." It's not comparable. Ishtoi dibemezid asiri midaraisa. If a woman would gone ahead, an ashes ish, and had an illicit affair with somebody else, that would asur on the husband. So therefore, b'shogeg gazu b'rabanan. The shogeg case, the Rabbanan were geyser. The exact same case will be geyser. Here's the chiddush, guys. Achas isha b'mezid loy asira. If a man would live with his wife's sister b'mezid, it would not asur his wife on himself. Again, b'mezid, Ruvain lived with Rachel. It would not asur Leah. If Ruvain b'mezid lived with his wife's sister, it would not asur. Therefore, b'shogeg loy gazu b'rabanan. The shogeg is not guys. Now the question is, where do you know such a chiddush from? That b'mezid with your wife's sister doesn't asur your wife, mana. So the pasuk says, "V'shachav isha isha shichva zera v'nela me'ena isha v'nistra v'hina inma." It happens to be the parsha tomorrow, parsha Saita, guys. The parsha Saita. So what does it say? It says isa. The pasuk says "V'shachav ish isa." Why do we dash from the word isa? Shichvasa oisrasa, her being with someone else asses. V'ein shchivas achoisa oisrasa. If his wife was with another man, then she's asa. But if he's with his wife's sister, then she's not asa. So we have a gezeres hakosov to tell me. That she is mutter, because I would have said she's asa. The pasuk tells me if I'm with my wife's sister, it's mutter, because without the pasuk, I would have said it's usher. Why? Guys, very important for the first daf, this following kal v'chomer. In other words, guys, here's the mechanics. This kal v'chomer is going to tell me that she should be usher, that I need a pasuk to tell me she's mutter. This kal v'chomer is going to create the isser, and the kal v'chomer is not going to be slugged up. This creates the isser that I need a pasuk to tell me that if you're with your wife's sister, you mutter be ishtay. What's the kal v'chomer? V'halei dinhu. Uma b'makom sheba al isakal, in a place where a man comes on an isakal. Guys, I'm giving you the maskana of the Gemara. Maskana, isakal is eshes ish. Why is eshes ish called isakal? Because if you give a get, she's mutter. It's isakal, meaning that it's not an isser oilam. It's not forever. It's not forever. So therefore, since there's a way out, legally, knows that that's in your control because you can go ahead and divorce her. So therefore, it's called an isakal. Umab makim sheba is isakal. An eshes ish. Ne'esar ha'isar. What? Ne'esar. It becomes asa. The isar, who made her asa? Guys, very important. Listen to the line. Ne'esar ha'isa. What makes a woman asa on the world? Her husband. When he's mekadesh her. So he is the isar. And when she's with another man, ne'esar ha'isar. Then the isar who makes her asa becomes asar. The one who made the woman asar, he himself becomes asar. Uma b'makom isakal by eshes ish. I'm giving you the maskana. Eshes ish. Ne'esah ha'isar, the man who made her asar on the whole world, he becomes asar because his wife was mizaneh. Makom sheba al isachamer, in a place where a man has an isachamer, which is achas ishtay, because as long as this woman's alive, there's no way out. As long as the sister's alive, there's no way out. Einay din shenesara iser. Is it not a din that the sister, right? The sister that makes asa nesa should be the nesar, the wife who made her asa on the sister should be asa. Why is it? Why can't Reuven marry Rachel? Because he married Leah. Leah is the Isra on Rachel, guys. Leah is the Isra on Rachel. Leah is the sister. So Memela what? In a madach and is a chomer, where you're gonna asa the Isra, it's a cow. You're gonna asa the Isra. That man Ashes Ish is going to be Asr. He's the Isra, and he becomes Asr if she does something. Over here, where the woman is the Isra, Einay din by the Chomer that she should become Asr. Because of that Kal V'chomer which remains, I needed a pasuk to tell me no. Guys, one more time, let's get it, because the Gemara is going to hack this Morgan. So listen to me well. I'm giving you the maskana. This is the maskana in the end. The Chomer is Ashes Ish. The Chomer is the Kal is Ashes Ish. The Chomer is Achas Ishtay. We're calling Ashes Ish Chomer because you can get rid of her with a get. We're calling Achas Ishtay. It's not in your hands to get rid of her. Good if she dies, it's mutta. But as long as she's alive, you can't do anything, right? Chutz hiring a hitman. In that case, what? In that case, so Madoch, where it's an Issachar, the woman is Mizana. She's gonna asa the Iser. She's gonna asa her husband, which asad her in a place where it's more chamer, and a man lives with the Nesar, the man lives with the sister. Einay din, it should asa the Iser, it should asa his wife, would asa him to be with the sister. Talmud Loimar, the Shochav is Isa, her bia does it, but not the bia of a sister. So the Kal V'chomer creates the Isser, and the Pasuk creates the Heter. Good? Guys, you good? Give me a thumbs up. We good? Zevi, you good? Okay, Baruch Hashem. Now, Rabbi Yehuda says Rabbi Yehuda. Now, this is not connected to what we just said. We had the other day. Let's say a man lives with his mother-in-law. Does his wife become asar? The connection over here is obvious, right? You're living with your wife's sister. You're still mutter to your husband, to your wife. So here, you're living with your mother-in-law. If you live with your mother-in-law, would that ask you out on your wife? So you wouldn't be able to live with your wife. Aman nechlu, where is the machlokes? So Beis Shammai argues, Beis Shammai oimnim paisel. Guys, Beis Shammai says, in fact, if you live with your wife's sister, you're pasul. Why? He doesn't darshan Isa. He stays with the Kal V'chomer. He stays with the Kal V'chomer. He doesn't darshan Isa. He stays with the Kal V'chomer from Eishes Ish. Beis Hillel says loy paisel, and Beis Hillel says no, it won't pasul. So everyone agrees by Bachamaisei pasels. Machlokes Beis Shammai Beis Hillel by achas ishtay. Amar Rabbi Yosi says Rabbi Yosi. They both agree from the Isa that it's going to go ahead and matter if a man lives with his wife's sister, he's still mutter to the husband, to the wife. What's the machlokes? Where you live with your mother-in-law. Okay, now Rabbi Yosi is coming to explain, guys, that why didn't they argue by achas isha? In other words, they didn't argue by achas isha, correct? They argue by chamaisai. Rabbi Yosi says they argue by chamaisai, but they don't argue by achas isha. He's coming to explain why by achas isha are they maida that it's mutter to live with your wife. Initially, before a man was mekadesh a woman, she can marry any man. She was a free agent. She can marry everybody. He's mutter to the whole world, and she's mutter to the whole world. Kitsha, he's mekadesh. Hu Isra, he goes ahead now and asks to all men. Vihi Isra soy, and she asks this to her craving. Again, in the days pre-Rechem Gershin, a man was able to marry more than one wife. Right? So the limitation of your wife was to the craving of the wife, the mother, whatever it is, the craving. That would be what? That would be us. Meruba Issa Sha'asra, Issa Sha'asra. What he accomplished with Kedushin is more severe than what she was affected by the Kedushin. Why? Because she's Asra on the whole world, and he is only Asra limited to her craving. Shehu Asra b'chal nasha sheba olam, v'hi le'asrasli ela b'krav seha. And he's only also up at the craving. So therefore, established fact. Good. So therefore, now, why do we want to find out? We want to find out why they don't argue by achas isha. V'halei din that the wife should be mutter if you shogeg with the sister. The wife should be mutter if you shogeg with the sister. V'halei din hu umahu she'asra b'chol nasha sheba olam. He would answer on every woman, every man in the world. Shogag ba'asala einaneseres b'mutala. If she's b'shoigeg with any man, nonetheless she won't be asa to mutala. If she's a shoigeg, she'll be mutter to her husband. He shleisrasay el b'kraveseha. She who only asked him to her kravim. Shogag be'asalai. If he's shoigeg with the achas isha, einay din. Is it not a din? Shleinesala b'mutah. It's not a din that it should not be nesa to muta. Madach what? If she who's more, guys, it's more severe him than her. He asks her on the whole world, she's us in the craving. Madach where it's more chomer by him, by her, the fact she's us on the whole world. If she's shoygeg, she's muta to him. By the cow, where he's only us in the craving seha, if he's shoygeg with that karev, with akas ishtoi, ain't a din, she should be muta to him. So therefore, like Beis Shammai Beis Hillel, they don't argue by what achas isha. I have a kal v'chaymer to teach me. They don't argue by achas isha. I have a kal v'chaymer. Now says the Gemara, that is the din is the shoygeg lemezid minayin. Guys, we have to know b'mezid. What's the top line of the Gemara? Achas isha de b'mezid le'asira. Even b'mezid, right? This kal v'chaymer is only if it's shoygeg. We need even if he did it b'mezid with the achas isha, we have to prove that he's mutter to his wife. We can't limit it to shoygeg. The Kal V'chaymer limits it to shoygeg. We have to know unequivocally, b'mezid if he did it with his wife. How do you know that he's permitted with his sister-in-law? How do you know he's permitted with his wife? Talmud loyma oisa shchivasa oisrasa vein shchivasa choisa oisrasa. Right? Oisa the shchiva will aser, but not what? But not the sister itself. Okay. So now, all we've done so far is we saw machlokes Beis Shammai Beis Hillel and Machloikas Amaroyim, are they arguing by Chamaisai, not Chamaisai? But everyone seems to agree by Achas Isha, that Achas Isha, if you're together, that would be okay. According to the first Lashon, not Beis Shammai would disagree there also. In the second Lashon, they would agree, and it's predicated upon the pasuk of the Isa. It's predicated upon that. Okay, now what did Rabbi Yehuda say? Rabbi Yehuda said, "Like nechlu beishayim beisilel the baal chamaisai." Okay, so now why not? Why would they agree by mother-in-law that if you're with your mother-in-law, you're also on your wife? Why would they agree, guys? That again, why would Beis Shammai Beis Hillel agree if you're with your mother-in-law, you're also on your wife? That's the question. So Omer Avami, Omer Reish Lakish, my time with Rabbi Yehuda, that if you're with your mother-in-law, you're also on your wife. The Chsiv, it says the pasuk we saw it the other day. The ish ashayikach es isha ves ima, a man who takes his wife and and a woman and her mother, zimahi. It's an act of znus. Ve'esh yisafu oisoi ves hen. In fire you should burn him and them. So we said yesterday, we said a dava pasha. There's no reason in the world all three of them should die. The woman that he married, he did nothing wrong. Marrying the woman created the issur of the mother-in-law, but there's nothing wrong with that woman. So it can't possibly mean they all get burnt. So let's deal with that now. In Eish you should burn him and them. Is everyone going to go out and be bisreifa? If it's not inyan streifa, because his wife doesn't get streifa, use it inyan surah. That what? That if he goes ahead and he's with his mother-in-law, then they're all going to be usher. That's the svara of Rabbi Yehuda. That Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel both agree that bo al chamaisai paislas ishtai. So here's the way he darshans the pasuk, guys. If a man takes both a woman and her mother, zimahi ve'esh yisafu oisan veshen, doesn't mean they should get burnt. It means they're all usher on each other, because it can't mean they're all burnt because she did nothing wrong. What is the isser over here? It's usher to stay together. You know why? Because by Soy Veshen, it's mashim all three. Le'inyan isser, all three are equal. So if a man's with his mother-in-law, he's usher also on his wife. And that's why Beis Shammai, Beis Hillel, like Rabbi Yehuda, do not, says everyone agrees. Guys, we're good? Yes, no, maybe? Harold's looking to talk. Harold, what are you looking for? Okay.
What do they do with Osa? In the pasuk Osa, what do they do with Osa?
Oso him, right? The eshen, him and them are all usher on each other. They're all usher on each other. In other words, they're saying you can't take it literally because one of the women is not Machayev Streifa, she's a wife. So therefore, it's teaching me they're all usher on each other. That's the way Rabbi Yehuda learns the pasuk. Okay, Amra says the Gemara. Amar Rav Yehuda says the Amoira Rav Yehuda. Amar Shmuel ein halacha ki Rabbi Yehuda. The halacha is not like what the Tana Rabbi Yehuda. Ahuda avedi surah bechamasei. There was a person like Elenu. He did an issa with his mother-in-law. Asid Rabbi Yehuda came along. Rabbi Yehuda and Nagdei. He gave him Malchus. Amalei ilavda Amar Shmuel ein halacha Rabbi Yehuda. If not for the fact that Shmuel said that halacha is not Rabbi Yehuda, asirasa halacha isur the oilam. I'd ask you to go ahead and live with your wife forever. Because Rabbi Yehuda, the mother-in-law. But what can I do? Okay, the next piece of Gemara, let me set you up, okay? The next piece of Gemara, let me set you up. I told you the maskana of the Gemara. Guys, go up to 4 lines in the top. V'halei dinhu. Uma b'makim sheba alisa kal nesa ha'oiser, makim sheba alisa chomer ein adin shenesa ha'oiser. So now, the issa chomer is achas ishtai. The issa kal is eshes ish. And the oiser is the husband, and now Nesar, he becomes asa because of the act of the wife. I told you the maskana. We're going to have 3 other attempts to say what in fact it is. In the end, it's going to be Esis Ish. But initially, we're going to say maybe it's Machsa Grusha So, maybe that's the Issakal. Maybe it's Yibum, that's the Issakal. Soita, maybe it's Soita, that's the Issa Kal. And then we're going to conclude it means Eisa Shish. So this is the dynamics of the Gemara. We're going to attempt to Kal V'chomer, and we're going to attempt to throw in three possibilities. Machse, Grushaso, Yevamot, and Soita. And we're going to ask a kasher on all of these to show it's not a good Kal V'chomer, and we're going to conclude Eisa Shish. In the discussion, we're going to have to go ahead and also fill in where's the Oyser, the Nessar, and the Oyser over here. I tell you guys, it's tedious. But again, I don't have a blackboard, and I should have written it up. But since the Amid base is much harder, and I did write that up, I didn't have time to do this. Okay. Again, let's get set it up. I got a Kal V'chomer. One thing. Okay. One's Kal, one's Chomer. The Chomer is Achas, guys. The Chomer is Achas Ishta. Good. That's given. The Chomer is your wife's sister. Done. Good. What's the Kal? And what does it mean that the Oyser is himself Aser? Good. What's the Kal? And what does it mean the Oyser is Aser? So first it's going to be Mashak Rushaso, then it's going to be Yevamot, then it's going to be Saita. We're knocking all this out. I'm going to end up with Eishes Ish. Let's see it inside. Says the Gemara. My Isser Kal, what exactly is an Isser Kal? Amar of Chista, Machse Grushasoy. It's a man taking back his Grusha. Now we all know that a man, if he divorces his wife, he's not a Kayin, he divorces his wife, she goes and marries somebody else, he can't take her back. Good. Mishanisas Bo'aleha Hai. When she gets Mishanisas, Kama. Bo'aleha Hai, the second man has relations with her. Asra Aleha Dahai. The first husband becomes Asr. Good. Bo'aleha Idach. Now, let's say the first husband takes her back and lives with her. Asr Aleha Dahai. Now we go ahead and Asr it on the second husband. And that's what means the Asr is Nesar. Since the first husband is Bayal Har, the second husband is Asr. He's Asr. Ma Oyser Nesar. So the Oyser, who is the Oyser here? The second husband Asr on the first husband, right? Guys, the second husband, when he lived with her, Asr on the first husband. Now, when the second husband lives with her, the first husband lives with her again, it's going to Asr on the Nesar is going to be Asr. Okay? Haya Asr la the high, Asr la the high. Now, so that's your Kal. I'll say, over there, Nitma Haguf, what? She herself did an act of Bia. By marrying her, you did an act of Bia. Skip the next words. Visur Issa Olam, and Maxa Grushay is in Issa Olam. Masha'en Kain Achas Ishtoi, you're taking your wife back. Nothing happened to her. And Issa is not an Issa Olam because your sister-in-law can die. Again, what's the Kal V'chomer? Madach Maxa Grushay, which is more Kal, right? Which is more Kal because it's only a lav. Achas Ishtoi is Karis, guys. Achas Ishtoi is Karis. So therefore, Madach Maxa Grushay, which is an Issa Kal. Nonetheless, Oyser Nesar, the second person who acid on the first person becomes Asa with the B of the second person, and nonetheless, he can't, right, and what? He would, so he could take it back. He can't take it. The second, he can't take it back. Machzeg, he can't take her back, right? He can't take her back. Again, the Kal V'chomer, guys, is to Aser. So certainly, Achas Ishtoi, which is more Chomer, and now the Oyser, the wife, should be Asa, Nessa should be Asa to him. Talmud Laima Oysa. Again, it's like filling in on a math equation. You have a Kal V'chomer that says she should be Asa, take back your wife after an incident of Matzah Grushaso, and therefore Oysa tells me you could take it back. In the following Kal V'chomer is Matzah Grushaso, and now Achas Ishtoi. Says, now we have a kasha. Matzah Grushaso, there was an act of Bia that acid. Achas Ishtoi, there was no act done to your wife to Aser. And secondly, the Matzah Grushaso is an Issa Olam. Achas Ishtoi, your wife's sister dies, she's mutter. So therefore, that's a pircha on that Kal V'chomer, and therefore I would not need Oysa to go ahead and say it's mutter because the Kal V'chomer wouldn't Aser it, because I slugged up your Kal V'chomer. So we just got rid of specimen number one. We got rid of Machzor Grushaso. Now we're going to Yevama. Ella Amre Shlakish, Yevama. The case is Yevama. Yevama Laman. Now who? Ilema La'acher. Yevama went and married somebody else. Yevama went and she married somebody else from the shuk. Now, what happens then? And Rav Hamnuna, the Amar Rav Hamnuna, Sheimeres Yavam Shezinsa Asruli Yevama. Guys, look at me, look at me. When the husband dies, what's stopping his wife from marrying? The brother. The Yavam is the Isa, right? If she lives with somebody else, now she becomes Usher on the Nesar. She becomes Usher to him. So my Yavam, which is an Isakal, it's a lav. The Oyser, we make the Oyser the Nesa, the one that asks the Yevama L'Shuk, himself becomes Usher if she lives with somebody else. Good. Machzor Grushaso, where right? Ain't I din. Now you'll ask, my Yevama L'Shuk, she came Nitma Haguf again. There was a relation with the woman himself. You didn't live with your wife. No one lived with your wife. If you beroiv and she's Usher most of the world. She's Usher beroiv. She's Usher on beroiv. Not achasishta, guys. Achashish is only Usher to you. Yevama L'Shuk is Usher beroiv. She only is mutter to the brothers. So that's a kasha on that kal v'chayma. So it's not a good kal v'chayma that I read a pasuk. Next kal v'chayma. Next. Now Ella Yevama La'achin. What does that mean? That the Yavam made it Usher on the brothers. What did he do? Avid b'maima. Now, when the first brother does Maimer, now it's Usher for the second brother to go ahead and marry her. Good. Now let's say the second brother does Maimer or lives with her. It will be Usher on the first brother. So the Oyser, the first brother who gave Maimer, now will become Usher, right? And therefore we can have a Kal V'Chomer. Hi Usher Isser Dahai Boy Alecha Idach Usher Alecha Dahai. So Maria Shabola, even without Boalecha, Sheni Afilu Av Banami Maimer. Guys, you don't need the second brother to have Bia to ask him on the first one, even if he just gave Maimer with asking the first one, right? Like Kasha, correct? Maybe Rabbi Gamliel, Dama, Ein Maimer Acha Maimer, there's no Maimer after Maimer, and therefore it will be a good Kal V'Chaymer. Elafilu Nasan La get. Even if the second brother would give a get, Afilu Chaletzla, it would Asaha. So therefore the Kal V'Chaymer from Yavam is not successful. So again, we have a Kal V'Chaymer. I'm going to hack it till it gets into your heads. We have a great Kal V'Chaymer to say it should be Usher for a man to live with his wife after he lived with the sister. Madach b'makam achomer, you're going to go ahead and be Usher. Certainly there you should be Usher. Tamid loymar, I saw that you're mutter. We attempted to go in Machzor Grushaso. We said it's not a good Kal V'Chaymer because Machzor Grushaso is Usher is the Olam and she herself did the Avera. We tried Yevama. Yevama herself, it was to somebody in the Shuk, she herself did the Avera. And Mashay, and it's to other brothers, right? You don't have to say Bo'aleha, even without Bo'aleha. So Memela, the Kal V'Chomer is not from Yevama either. What's next attempt is Saita. The next attempt is Saita, says the Gemara. Ella Rabbi Yochanan, Saita. Saita is the Kal V'Chomer that I would say Machzor Grushaso is Asa that I need a pasuk to say it's Mutter. Saita Laman, who Ilema Lebal, Ilema Lebal. Where what? She was nibble to the Baal, Baal, Asra the boil, right? When the Baal is Baal Leha, now she become Asra to the boil. If she refuses to drink, or what? So now we're going to destroy the Kal V'Chaymer by Saita. So if you tell me it's the Baal, then what? You forget Bia, just to give a getter, she refuses to drink. Ella cited the boil, it must be what is with the boil. It must be with the boil. Issa kalhu. That's not Issa kal, it's Issa chamar. So therefore, we destroyed that Kal V'Chaymer. So you're not successful from Machzor Grushaso. You're not successful from Yevama, and you're not successful from Saita. Ella, the Hainu Eishes Ish, Amid Beis. That is Eishes Ish. Ella Omer Rava Eishes Ish. V'chein ki asa. I read that wrong. And anyway, it says a Chama Hu Dehainu Eishes Ish. That it's the Eishes Ish. It's a Chamar if you boil an Eishes Ish. Elamar Rava Eishes Ish v'chein ki yasser Rav Nam Yechon Eishes Ish. Why currently is the kal? Why are you calling it Eishes Ish the kal? She'ena oisra kol yamav. Because why? Because you can give a get. Tanya Nam Yehachi, we have a mafurish that this is the din. Chanan Omar Mishum Rebbe Elazar. Abba Chanan Omar Mishum Rebbe Elazar Eishes Ish. Eishes Ish. Uma b'makam abal is the kal and Eishes Ish. She'ena oisra kol yamav. Of course, you can give a get. Nesa oiser, the husband, that's the oiser, becomes also to the wife. Habal is a chomer, someone who lives with an achas ishtay. Oisra kol yamav. She's also all his days, meaning all the days that she's alive. Einay din shenesa oiser is not a kavachem that his wife should be asa. Tamalaim oisa. Therefore, we have a pasuk oisa shchivasa oisrasa v'shchivasa oisrasa. So that's the bottom line. As I said, we began with Eishes Ish. We're ending with Eishes Ish. The Kavachema is a good Kavachema that I need a pasuk of Isa to say it's not. Okay, next piece of Gemara is hopefully I'll do a good job. I'll do the best I can. Okay. Now, Rabbi Yossi said it then. Guys, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the whole Gemara outside. Before we see the words, I'm going to do the whole Gemara outside. Okay. You can see this. Guys, you're all on board, yeah? Rabbi Yossi said the following. Look at the words. Anyone who passes others, he himself becomes puzzle. Those were the ambiguous words of Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Yossi was referring to the words of the Tanakama. The question is, what did the Tanakama say that Rabbi Yossi is commenting on? Good? Guys, good? You guys, if you don't understand, please let me know. Rabbi Yossi these are his words. His words were referring to something that the Tanakama had said. Now, Ruvain is married to Leah, Shimon is married to Rachel. That's the heart. Ruvain is married to Leah, Shimon is married to Rachel. So what's going to happen is Leah and Shimon are going to go overseas, and Ruvain is going to marry Rachel. This is a man, Ugisai, his wife, the wife Leah, Shimon, his brother-in-law, are going overseas. They're dead. Ruvain marries Rachel. That's the case. Good? That is the case. On that case, Rabbi Yossi made the following comment. What was the comment? What was the comment of Rabbi Yossi? Right? That Ruvain, Salkedaita, here's the Havamina. Ruvain makes, right? If Ruvain lives with Rachel, he's going to asa Rachel on Shimon, right? He's going to asa Rachel on Shimon. So therefore, he should be puzzled to Leah. That makes a lot of sense, right, guys? Look, the Tanakama said that Ruvain can stay with Leah any which way. Ruvain can stay with. That was just the whole Gemara we did. If you had relations with your wife's sister, you still could stay with your wife, correct? That's what he said. On that, Rabbi Yossi is commenting, it should not be that way. Why? What does it say? It says Ruvain is married to Leah and he keeps her, right? Why? He should be able to keep her. Madach Ruvain, who passes Shimon. Ruvain makes Rachel us to Shimon by living with her. So too, pasal the Atzmai, he should be puzzled his own wife. That would be a good shot. However, look at the second memra. What's that case? In other words, it's got to be two cases. You only have one case. If Rabbi Yossi was commenting on that din, you would only have one case. You wouldn't have a reverse. You wouldn't have a case of anyone who doesn't pass al yidei acherim, ain't a pass al yidei atzmai, because there's no way Shimon l'chayr is going to be us on Rachel. So therefore, he's not pass. He is passing. He's passing over here. So therefore, that can't be the case. What is the case? We have Machloikas Rav Ami and Rav Yitzchak Nafcha as to what the Tanakama said and what Rabbi Yossi's comment of Kol Shepois Al Yidei Acherim Pois Le'Yatzma is on the words of the Tanakama. Guys, are we set up? Look at me. I'm going to put on the chart again. We have the words in front of us. Kol Shepois Al Yidei Acherim Pois Le'Yatzma. Those are the words. Those words were said on a comment of the Tanakama. We don't know what the Tanakama said. I just gave you a suggestion, and that didn't work because you couldn't figure out the sefer. We're going to have two opinions as to what the Tanakama said, and Rabbi Yossi said to go ahead and counteract that. That's what we're doing right now. We're going to do this all over here, and then we're going to go through the Gemara. It'll go geschmert. If we get this right, it'll go geschmert. Okay. Rav Ami says it's going back on the Mishnah on Daf Pei Zayin. Just follow the mouse. It's going back on the Mishnah on Pei Zayin. Why did we see on the Mishnah at Pei Zayin? We saw the din of getting married al yidei bezdin or getting married al yidei acherim. If you get married al bezdin, it means one aid came and bezdin said get married. You weren't daiku mitzvah, the kitchen sink was thrown at you. Good? Teitzei and everything else. If you get married al yidei edim, Reb Shimon said, mutar lachsaba, you could take her back. You did nothing wrong. Edim gave you a heta. There's no Edim, they do everything. You got a heta with Edim, you're good. So here's what the Tanna Kama said. Get married, whether you get married through Bezdin, one Eid Echad, or you get married through Edim too, says the Tanna Kama, Edim or Bezdin, Shimon would be able to stay with Rachel. Shimon would be able to stay with Rachel. Shimon with Edim, Shimon could stay with Rachel. With Bezdin, Eid Echad, Shimon would have to divorce Rachel, but Ruvain would be able to stay with Leah. So, if there's Eidim, they both can stay together, despite the fact that Ruvain was Mizana with Rachel, his sister-in-law, she'd be able to stay with Shimon. She'd be able to stay with Shimon. If, however, it was Bezdin and Eid Echad, and she wasn't Daika, then Shimon would not be able to live with Rachel. However, Ruvain would be able to live with Leah. So, and that's our case. The Gisai, the brother-in-law, is also on the wife, and Ruvain will be able to stay with Leah. That's the words of Tanna Kama. On that, we have Rav Shimon's comment. Bezdin, Shimon has to, again, I agree, Shimon's out. You know why? Since Ruvain asid Rachel by living with Rachel, Paisel, therefore Ruvain's also out with Leah. Kol she Paisel yidei acherim, Paisel yidei atzmai. Shimon, Ruvain, who passed Shimon to his wife, he himself was passed to his own wife. That's if you got married through Bezdin. However, if you got married through Eidim, where Shimon would still be able to live with Rachel, he doesn't. Ruvain, despite the fact he lived with Rachel, Shimon could keep her because you have Eidim. Then Ruvain would be able to stay with Leah. That's the heart over there. So that's the pshat according to what? According to Rav Ami. The machloikis is in this case. With the Tanna Kama said, if you got either way, Tanna Kama says Ruvain can stay with Leah. Whether there was two Eidim, whether there was one Eid, Ruvain can stay with Leah. On that, Rabbi Yossi's comment to disagree. It depends. If it was Al Yedei Eid Echad and therefore Shimon has to leave, Ruvain has to leave. This is where he argues. If, however, Eidim and he could stay together, Ruvain can stay together. Guys, you good? We're good? Okay, now, Rav Yitzchak Nafka says it's not going back on the Mishnah Pei Zayin, it's going back on our Mishnah on Sadik Beis. And it's speaking where in the Eid Echad. There's one Eid that comes along, and here's the din. Says the Tanna Kama, Ruvain can stay with Leah, and Shimon can go ahead, has to get divorced from Rachel. Now, there's two possibilities. Ruvain was an Arusa to Leah, or Ruvain was either an Nesua to Leah. We had this Gemara earlier. There's Erisin or Nesuin. We said Nesuin you can't take it back. Erisin you could take it back. So Leah goes overseas. Leah is going overseas with Shimon. Leah was an Arusa or a Nesua. Either way, says the Tanna Kama, Ruvain can stay with Leah. Doesn't make a difference. Whether she was an Nesua or an Arusa, Ruvain can stay with Leah. Either way. On that point comes Rabbi Yossi to argue. It depends. Arusa, you know what people can say? You know why Ruvain married Rachel, guys? Is because he was never married to Leah, because there was a Tanai in the Kedushin. Since the marriage was never consummated, there was a Tanai in the Kedushin, and that's why Ruvain can marry Leah. And because of that, he has to give a get. To go ahead and avoid that, he has to give a get. So, if people say Ruvain marries Rachel, they're going to say Ruvain married Rachel because he was only married to Leah on a Tanai. And since they was never married to Leah, that's why he can marry Rachel. Thus, Ruvain has to give a get to Rachel to avoid that possibility. By giving a get, you're making her asa to Shimon as machse grushaso. Okay, so too, Ruvain would have to go ahead and avoid Leah. So guys, here, watch. Kol shepaisel al yedei acherim, Shimon becomes asa to Rachel because Ruvain gave Rachel a get, because Ruvain had to give a get to Leah, right? Ruvain had to give a get to Rachel that people shouldn't think he was married to Rachel. So based upon that, now since he had to give a get to Rachel, that would aser on what? On Shimon. Shimon won't be able to live with her because why? Because she was with Ruvain. It's Masha Grusha so too, Ruvain won't be able to marry Leah. However, if Leah was in a suah, if Leah was married to what? To Ruvain, and no person's going to say that when Ruvain lived with her sister Rachel, it's because there was a Tanai, because that would make all the bias of Ruvain with Leah a bilas nus. There was no Tanai, so Ruvain could never marry Rachel, and he doesn't have to give a get. Thus, Shimon can stay married to Rachel, and Ruvain can stay married to Leah. So there's two pshatim. Kol shepoisel yidei acherim, either through Bezdin, poisel yidei atzmai. Kol she'ena poisel acherim because of Eidim, ena poisel yidei atzmai. Kol shepoisel yidei acherim through saying it's a Tanai, requiring to give a get, you would have to passel. Kol she'ena poisel yidei acherim where you don't have a get, and they would not passel. And that's the chayra, that's the Gemara. Okay, let's. I'm going to keep the chart up here. Let's see it inside. Rabbi Yossi Yomer, Kol shepaisel al yedei atzmai, al yedei acherim, ein paisel al yedei atzmai. My kamar Rabbi Yossi. What did Rabbi Yossi say on the words of Tanakama? Ilay midikam Tanakama the azli ishtay v'gisa l'medina sayam. That Leah and Shimon went to l'medina sayam. Eishes gisha yasira. And now he went ahead and he lived with Rachel. So now Rachel becomes Asaron, Shimon, the Ishtay Sharia, and Leah is permitted to be married to Ruvain. Come to Rabbi Yossi, Kehechet Ishtay Sharia, Ishis Gisanami Sharia, just like Rachel is, just like Leah's mutter, so to Rachel's mutter, that's very strange lashon, because it's not Acherim, it's on him. Anyone himself is not puzzle, ain't a puzzle Acherim. It's the opposite. The reason Rabbi Yossi is saying that since he could live with him, he could live with her. But again, that's not true. It's al yidei acherim that's causing it, not al yidei atzma that's causing it. Ella, it must be ki heichi de eishes gisha asiroi. Just let's go the opposite direction. Just like Shimon's asa on Rachel, ishtay nami asira. Rachel's asa on Leah. Guys, this is it right over here. Just like Reuven makes this asa, this is also asa, right? That's the problem. Hatena kol shepaisel, kol she'ena paisel mayavidite. Good. You just explained Kol Shepaisel, guys, but you didn't play Kol She'ena Paisel. I just did this Gemara right here, this chart. Kol Shepaisel the Acherim, that why? Ruvain passes Rachel, so therefore Ruvain's or pasal on Leah, pasal the Yatzmai. What's this? There's no this. So Ravami, now we're in this chart, guys. Ravami, we're in this chart now. Ravami, a Resha. It's going back in the Resha. What Resha? The Mishnah Daf Pei Zayin. It's going back in the Mishnah Daf Pei Zayin. Right. Nisas Al Pi Bezdin. If you marry Al Pi Bezdin, where it's an Eid Echad, you're gonna have to leave Teitzei between a carbon. Al Pi Eidim Teitzei v'chayeves b'carbon. Yechayev b'carbon Yafa, because Yafa koyach shebezdin shepoichim in a carbon. Kama Tanakama loishnu Al Pi Eidim the Eishes Gishlei Sharia. The Eishes Gishlei is going to be mutter whether there were two Eidim that they died. Loishnu Al Pi Bezdin or her was Al Pi Bezdin. The Eishes Gishlei Asira that it's usher. Again, you can't take it back by Eidim, like we're going to like a Shimon, that you're mutter to take it back, where Eishes Gislei is Eid Echad, by Bezdin, you won't be able to take it back. So therefore, there's no difference. Guys, Ruvain would be able to live with Leah. Listen to my words. Ruvain would be able to live with Leah over here. This is always going to be whether Shimon can stay with Rachel or Shimon has to leave Rachel. You see it? Whether Shimon has to leave Rachel because it was a Bezdin and Eid Echad, or Shimon can stay with Rachel because it was Eidim, Ruvain can stay with Leah. That's what the Tanakhama said. The Ka'amalei Rabbi Yossi, continuing on, now we're going to the next line. Rabbi Yossi says it depends. Al Pi Bezdin, the Paisla Yidei Acherim. Al Pi Bezdin, look at the chart. Where Bezdin, he's going to passel because it was an Eid Echad. Him also is going to be pasel. Pasel Yidei Atzmai. Al Pi Eidim, the Eina Paisla Yidei Acherim. Look at the chart. Eidim, which is not going to passel because Shimon was still be mutter to Rachel, right? Eina Paisla Yidei Atzmai. Ruvain will be able to live with Leah. That's the first pshat according to Rav Ami. Guys, how was that? Guys, are we good? Are we good? I hope it's geschmack. It's like a big jigsaw puzzle, right? We're figuring it in. Now the next part, Rabbi Yitzchak Nafcha. Now, Rabbi Yitzchak Nafcha, I'm a loyal Seifa. Guys, it's going to the Seifa of Eidecha, it's going to the Mishnah and Tzaddik Beis. Now, what's the case? And the case is that who are Rasa Gisai, his Leah is Arusa, and he goes with Shimon, the brother-in-law. And Haid Ozl Ishtay V'Gisai, and the Kama Tanakama, Loishna Ishtay V'Gisai, Loishna Arusasai. Guys, over here, says the Tanakama. It doesn't make a difference whether Ruvain was an Arusa Talea or Ruvain was an Asua Talea. Shimon's going to be Aser and Ruvain's going to be Mutter. It doesn't make a difference. That's what the Tanakama says. Now, Loishna Arusas Gisai, Eishes Gisai Asira V'Ishtay Sharia. The Kamal Rabbi Yossi, it depends. Ishta V'Gisai, the Lekal Meimet Tanoi Havilei. Ishta, where there was a Nesuin, he does this first. Ishta, where it was Nesuin, where there's no possibility of a Tanai saying that Ruvain divorced, never was married to Leah because it's in Nesuin. You're going to make a bilas nos, having a Nesuin, the Ein a Paisal Yidei Acher, Ein a Paisal Yatzmai. So over here, where he's not going to passel, so Shimon will be able to stay married to Rachel, Ruvain will be able to stay married to Leah. Arusasai, this box, guys. Arusasai, where people are going to say it's a Tanai, and therefore Ruvain lived to Rachel because he was never married to Leah, and thus it facilitates the need to give a get to Rachel, making her Asa, then he also will be Asa. Okay, that's the. I hope that's okay, guys. It's a hard Gemara, but it's just fitting in the words. Okay, let's get to the Mishnah. Amar Rabbi Yehuda Mishmuel, halach Rabbi Yossi, the halach of Rabbi Yossi. The havamina halach is Rabbi Yossi that if you passel, then you also passel, right? That's the havamina. If you passel, you're also going to passel. Maskal Rabbi Yosef. Umiyam Mishmuel hachi. The Shmuel really say that. Amar Yevamot, Rav Amar Hari Hika Eshes Ish. Yevamot is like an Eshes Ish. Ushmuel Amar Eina Eshes Ish. Rav Huna Kigoin. What's the case? Shekidav Achiv Isha. A man gives kedushin to his wife. She's an arusa, so it's going according to the shita of Yitzchak Nafcha. V'holach loy lemedinas hayam, and now they go overseas. V'shama shemes achiv. He heard his brother died. V'amad v'nasa es ishta. And he stood up and he married his Yevamot, right? And she's only from Erison. The Rav Amar Hari Hu Ke'eshes Ish V'asur liyavim U'Shmuel Amar Eina Ke'eshes Ish V'Sharyalei. It's permitted. So how can you tell me Shmuel holds like Rabbi Yossi? Rabbi Yossi would say it's Asa. Shmuel saying it's Mutter. Why did you assume, guys, when he said that Allah is like Rabbi Yossi, guys, that he was going according to this opinion of Rabbi Yitzchak Nafcha, that was speaking in the case of what? Of Erison and Nesuin. Maybe he was saying that Allah is like Rabbi Yossi in this scenario of Ami. Right? And in that case, what? There's no stira. Shmuel is not arguing because he doesn't say she's like a nation. She's a mutter. And how do you know over here when even according to Yitzchak Nafcha, how do you know he's going to say that what the apostle that is going Dilma ain't apostle? Why do you think he's going on the apostle? In other words, there's two possibilities. I shouldn't have taken the chart, guys. Look, what did I do? Oh, nuts. I messed it up.
Is it on the bottom of your screen and you just have to click on it?
It could be, but I wouldn't know that. I wouldn't know that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop recording. Bless you. Bless you. I would have forgotten that. So now, why do you assume that he was going on this part, which would create a problem because he would disagree with Rabbi Yossi? Maybe he's going in this part. Maybe he's going in the Ein Apostle part. So if he's going in the Ein Apostle part, it's not a problem. Look at the top line, Tzadik Vav Amen Aleph. V'dilma Ein Apostle, Inami, V'may de Israel de Rav Huna. Why do you hold that? Why do you think he goes like Rav Huna? Why do you think he goes like Rav Huna, who made the chilik between Erison and the Suin? He's the one who made that chilik with the Tanoim. Maybe Dilma less of the Rav Huna. He doesn't cloud. With Rav Nuna kamifligin. He argues with Rav Nuna whether she's a Zaina or not. Rav Nuna, Shemeres Yavim Shezinsa Suli Yevamot. The Rav Amari Ke'eshes Ish Umifsla Business Ushmul ain't a Keshes Ish, business. So he can pass like Rabbi Yossi and it won't be a stira. Vinami b'kedushin taifus b'Yevamot kamifli, or else the machlokes between Rav and Shmuel is whether kedushin is taifus by Yevamot l'shuk. The Rav says harihi keshes ish v'loy tasi b'kedushin. Shmuel amein keshes ish v'tasi b'kedushin. So Shmuel can still pass like Rabbi Yossi. Fred Gemara, why would you have this machlokes of Eftu b'chad the zimna? Says the chad mechal chavei rasa itma. They learn one within the other. Okay, the thrust of the daf was twofold. One, we had a kal v'chomer. That achas ishtay, if a man's with achas ishtay, he should puzzle to marry his own wife, should be able to not go back. We had a puzzle I saw to matter it. We had a few different possibilities, whether it's Mashal Kushasa, whether it was Yevam, whether it was Saita, and we concluded it has to be Eshes Ish. Then we had Rabbi Yossi's din of Kol Shel Paisal Yidei Atzmai, Paisal Yidei Cherem, Kol She'ein Paisal Yidei and Al Yidei Cherem. We have two Pshatim. We have Pshat of Ravami, we have Yitzchak Nafcha. And I thank you all for listening and wish you a great Shabbos.